Jupiter's Secrets Revealed. Jupiter's Secrets Revealed. Focus question: how do scientists learn about the planet Jupiter? The night Jupiter surprised me. I enjoy looking at the night sky with my telescope, but I found that most things you see through a telescope appear the same every time you look at them. That's why I was surprised one night in August 1985 while I was looking at Jupiter. I was drawing a sketch of the planet with a pencil when I noticed that the swirly, colorful stripes on Jupiter were moving and changing right before my eyes. I still remember how excited I was by this discovery, even though it made my sketch harder to finish. I saw Jupiter change again, right before my eyes, in July 1994. It was the last night that big chunks of a broken-up comet called Comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 collided with the planet. I saw several dark breezes on Jupiter where the chunks of the comet hit. I drew a picture of these too, as I thought about how cool it was to see them through a telescope. Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system and one of the brightest objects in the night sky. Seen outside a telescope, it looks like a star. I have found Jupiter to be full of surprises and I think it's the most exciting planet. What and where is Jupiter? At about 484 million miles, 779 million kilometers from the Sun, Jupiter is 5 times farther from the Sun than Earth. Jupiter is the 5th planet from the Sun. Earth is the 3rd planet from the Sun. Jupiter is so far away that it takes 12 Earth years for it to orbit the Sun one time. Jupiter, the giant of our solar system, has a diameter of about 89,000 miles, 143,000 kilometers across its middle, or equator. Jupiter is so large that if Earth were a small grape, Jupiter would be a large grapefruit. What's in its name? Jupiter was named by people who lived in ancient Rome more than 2,000 years ago. To the Romans, Jupiter, who was also known as Jove, was the king of the gods. His weapon was a thunderbolt. The god Saturn, another planet's name, was the first ruler of the universe according to the Romans. But his children, including Jupiter, Neptune, and Pluto, overthrew him. Jupiter married the goddess Juno, and their family included Mars and Vulcan. Every 9 hours and 55 minutes, Jupiter rotates once on its axis. This is far faster than any other planet, so one day on Jupiter is only 9 hours and 55 minutes long. How you know how long it takes Earth to rotate once on its axis. Hint: how long is one day? Do you know? Jupiter, along with the Sun and other planets of our solar system, formed from an enormous cloud of gas and dust 4.6 billion years ago. What is Jupiter made of? Not all planets are like Earth, which has a solid surface for you to walk on. Jupiter is mostly a big ball of gases and liquids. Like the Sun, it is made mostly of the chemical elements hydrogen and helium, which are the two lightest elements, but also has water, ammonia, and methane. The many swirly, reddish, whitish, and yellowish stripes that I saw on Jupiter through my telescope are made of clouds of gas. The bright white stripes are gas clouds called zones. The dark, thin stripes are gas clouds called belts. The belts and zones move around the planet, but their winds flow in opposite directions. West to east in zones, east to west in belts. Elements. Elements are the simplest materials known. There are 92 known natural elements. All other materials are made from different combinations of these elements. Molecules. Molecules are the smallest particles of a material or substance. They are made of 2 or more smaller particles called atoms. For example, the substance water, HO2, is made of water molecules that consist of 2 atoms of the element hydrogen and 1 atom of the element oxygen. Beneath the thin, cloudy atmosphere, the gases turn into liquids. The liquids from when the weight and pressure of the cold clouds above squeeze the gas molecules very close together. Molecules in the liquids are closer together than molecules in gases. There is even a deep layer of liquid hydrogen that acts like liquid metal. This metallic hydrogen flows around the inside of the planet. In the deepest part of Jupiter, at the planet's very center, there may be a core of rock and ice that is bigger than Earth. However, scientists are still not sure what Jupiter's core is like. Weather report from Jupiter. Have you heard the weather report from Jupiter today? I heard reports of average temperatures of about minus 236 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 100 to 49 degrees Celsius. Now, that's cold. However, it could be as hot as 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit, 600 degrees Celsius at the highest cloud tops, where the sun's rays are strongest. Today, the winds are blowing out of the north at about 400 miles, 650 kilometers per hour. Don't get caught out in one of the hundreds of swirling storms, similar to gigantic hurricanes all over the planet. The largest storm, called the Great Red Spot, is so big that 3 Earths could fit across it. This storm, which can be seen through a telescope on Earth, has been raging for more than 300 years. Seeing Jupiter from space. The Hubble Space Telescope has been used to take many sharp photographs of Jupiter and the other planets, as well as galaxies and other objects in deep space. This telescope is able to take very detailed pictures because it orbits Earth high above the atmosphere. The high orbit allows the telescope to avoid the blurring that the atmosphere can cause in photos taken from the ground. Astronauts on the Space Shuttle Discovery placed the Hubble Space Telescope in orbit in 1990. After several additional Space Shuttle missions to give the telescope new equipment, it was still working in 2006. Finally, huge flashes of lightning have been reported lighting up the planet's storm clouds. Does this sound like a good date for a picnic to you? The moons of Jupiter. At least 63 moons of various sizes orbit Jupiter. 16 of these moons are at least 6 miles, 10 kilometers wide. The 4 largest moons, Io, Europa, Gemini, Ganymede, and Callisto, were discovered by Italian atmosphere Galilei in 1610. These moons, known as the Galilean satellites, can easily be seen with a pair of binoculars. Ganymede. Ganymede is Jupiter's largest moon, and the largest moon is the entire solar system. Its surface has many mountains, valleys, and craters, as well as ice mixed with rock. Callisto. Callisto is covered with many craters, which were made when comets and asteroids crashed into the moon. Like Europa, Callisto may have ocean and salty water under its surface. Europa. Europa has a surface covered with ice. Deep craters run through the ice, dividing it into large chunks that are like icebergs. On Earth, only Europa's icebergs are the size of Earth's cities. Underneath the cold, cracked ice, there may be a deep, dark ocean of warm water. Scientists think that if this ocean really exists, alien creatures may live in it. Io. Io has more than 300 volcanoes on its surface. These volcanoes shoot out hot plumes of sulfur dioxide gas and bubbling flows of metal rock, lava. Different kinds of chemicals in the lava flows make different colors all over Io's surface, including yellow, red, orange, and green. Do you know? The volcanoes on Io shoot out so much rock and other materials from deep inside the moon that Io has actually churned inside out many times. And a volcano on Io named Loki gives off more heat than all of Earth's volcanoes combined. Revolutionary discovery. Galileo 1564 to 1642 made the first important discoveries with a tool that was new during his time, the telescope. Before Galileo used a telescope to discover the four largest moons on Jupiter in 1610, many people believed that planets and the sun revolved around Earth. Galileo's discovery that Galileo's discovery that there are moons revolving around Jupiter was the first evidence that not everything moves around Earth. This discovery helped persuade other scientists that Earth and the other planets moved around the sun. The rings of Jupiter. People used to think that Saturn was the only planet with rings around it because its rings are the only ones that can be seen through a telescope on Earth. So, scientists were surprised in 1979 when cameras on the Voyager spacecraft, which was flying near Jupiter at the time, took pictures of rings around the planet. The pictures from Voyager showed that Jupiter has four rings that are much thinner than the rings of Saturn. Unlike Saturn's rings, which are made partly of large chunks of ice, Jupiter's rings consist of tiny particles of dust. Scientists think that Jupiter's ring formed when meteoroids crashed into the planet's moons. These crashes threw dust into space, and these dust collected into rings. Spacecraft visits Jupiter. The U.S. National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, has launched many spacecraft to Jupiter. These robot explorers have sent pictures and other information back to Earth with radio waves, the same kind of energy waves that carry signals to radio and televisions. Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11. Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11 are two spacecrafts that took the first close-up photographs of Jupiter in 1973 and 1974. These photos showed that the clouds of Jupiter were much more colorful and complex than people have believed. Voyager 1st and Voyager 2nd. In 1979, the Voyager 1st and Voyager 2nd spacecraft discovered Jupiter's rings as well as lightning and auroras on Jupiter. Auroras are colorful displays of light similar to aurora borealis, northern lights of aurora australis, southern lights on Earth, that are created when energy particles from the sun heat gas particles in Jupiter's atmosphere. The Voyagers also discovered that Jupiter's moons have made big features such as volcanoes, ice, and craters. Ulysses. The Ulysses spacecraft passed close to Jupiter in 1992 and again from 2003 to 2004. It measured the strength of the magnetic field around Jupiter and studied the charged particles trapped by the field. Galileo. Galileo was the first spacecraft to orbit Jupiter. It circled Jupiter between 1995 and 2003, studying the mysterious planet and its moons. Galileo also released a small probe that parachuted into Jupiter's atmosphere. This probe had instruments that measured wind speed and the amounts of different chemicals in the atmosphere. How you can watch Jupiter. Jupiter looks like a bright star that you can see in the southern part of the sky only at certain times of the year. To know exactly where and when to look for Jupiter, check the weather or astronomy selection in your local newspaper. You can also check an astronomy magazine or website. If you look at Jupiter with binoculars, you will be able to see the planet's four largest moons and watch them change their position around Jupiter from one night to the next. With a telescope of medium power, you can see the belts and zones on Jupiter as well as the Great Red Spot, which also all change from night to night. It's fun to sketch when you see, but if you have a certain kind of telescope, you can use the camera to take photos instead. Do you know? Two main kinds of telescopes are the refracting telescope and the reflecting telescope. A refracting telescope uses a large lens to focus light rays from an object to a point inside the telescope. A reflecting telescope focuses light rays with mirrors. With either kind of telescope, You look at the focused point of light rays through an eyepiece to see a magnified image of the object. What's next for Jupiter? Jupiter is an exciting planet because it's a big ball of surprises. Scientists are always learning new things about this enormous planet, and you never know what they might discover next. Scientists are working on many new plans to learn more about Jupiter and its moons. To learn more about Jupiter and its moons. According to one of these plans, the United States and Europe would send a spacecraft to land on Jupiter's moon Europa. This craft would then melt through the moon's icy surface to study the ocean that scientists think might exist inside Europa, leading to the possible discovery of ocean life on this moon. There's a lot to look forward to with Jupiter. Perhaps someday you will be able to discover an amazing new fact about this surprising giant in the sky. Do you know? Jupiter's spin is slowing down because it is being pulled by the gravity of its moons.